I am very, very excited to have my next guest back on the program. Her latest album is called What Happened to the Heart? The lovely Aurora.
Hey!
Hello, welcome.
Thank you.
So good to see you again.
Oh, and you as well. It's been such a long time.
I know. A couple years, 2
Yes,
years, 3
2
years?
years, I
something
think.
along those
Yes.
lines? Yes. How have you been?
I've been really good.
Yeah?
It's been absolutely wonderful touring this year.
I can imagine.
This album is so like, it's such a cathartic piece to perform with.
You're
and
telling
I
me.
can feel there's this very special energy. And I feel so like drained and filled at the end of every show. And I can see it in the crowd as well. It's beautiful.
When you say that the energy gets drained, there's a lot of give and take at your shows. There's a lot of people that fly in from all over the world just to see your shows. What is it like to receive that energy, and how do you consistently give that to them and pace yourself throughout a hour and a half show or something like that?
Well, it is an hour and a half. Sometimes it's 2 hours because I talk so much. But no, it's quite incredible. It's this kind of energy that awakens during a show is kind of endless, and I don't even know where it comes from really. But even though you're sick or tired, like beyond what you think is mendable, it still just comes. I don't know where it comes from, but it feels like something close to like real magic. And I get energy from people, just from their eyes mostly, the windows to the soul, the way people send out so much beauty through their eyes, and that's what gives me the most energy during a show, is the way people, they look so beautiful and kind when they just forget that they're being seen, or like judged, because they aren't. And it's just such a free, beautiful thing. And yeah, but it's endless, this energy, I think.
Yeah, and you clearly emit that. First of all, I gotta say, you look amazing.
Thank you.
You are radiant.
I'm dressed as the Grinch.
Yes. Do you consider yourself a Grinch, or do you empathize with the Grinch?
I really empathize with the Grinch. I like that he lives in the mountain alone. I could do that. And then also my nephew now, which we talked about last time. He's now 3, and he loves the Grinch. So I thought, it just makes sense.
I think all of us felt like the Grinch years ago during the quarantine lockdowns. We were all at home.
We were all at home.
And maybe we were not in a mountaintop.
And you see what that does to a person?
Yeah.
People can become strange versions of themselves when they're being isolated and locked in like that. So I understand. I think we all understand the Grinch way more than we used to.
I think so. I'm there with you on that.
Thank you. That means a lot.
and so let's talk about how that is also reflected on the album, because we're really dissecting humankind right now.
Yes, very.
How AI affects us, the Earth doing its thing and really deteriorating, and what we are doing and our role in that. Where did all of this come from? You've always been a proponent for climate awareness and the things that are going on Earth, and basically how we are at one with Mother Earth.
Because we are. And I feel like it always really tickles my brain, I guess, when you travel the world and you see how similar behavior happens everywhere, and people acting kind of not human, or we're doing so many things that shouldn't be natural to us, against ourselves, against each other. And it's very strange that it's so normal now to kind of behave against nature and against our nature as creatures. And I think for this album, I was really looking out at the world like you do, because music has this gift of uniting people through love instead of fear, like politics does. It's very fear-based, and that's why people unite around fear against someone, whoever it is. But music kind of just connects people through love and through like something that is pure. That's why I think it's so important that music speaks about things that is that matters to the world, because we need to hear political things being said emotionally, because it's more emotional than we think, you know, what is unjust in the world. But anyways, I was looking at the world, and then I asked myself the question, what happened to the heart? Because I just feel like we're not acting like humans anymore as much as we should, because we have so much opportunities to reach out to each other and to read about how to understand each other, how to learn, travel, see, like touch each other in a way we couldn't even dream of 100 years ago. And then we still find it so impossible to connect, I guess. I find it very interesting. And I just wonder where that part of us went. Yes, this kind of spiritual interconnectedness.
I feel what you're saying, because social media has created this line between humans that, yes, it's great for us to connect. Like, you could be in Norway, I'm here in San Francisco. We can WhatsApp, we can text, we can FaceTime, but it's not the same as if you're literally right here and having that connection.
Because this is what humans are, like what we are meant to be, and the way we like can feel each other in this room, and like here, like it's so much easier to choose to understand each other rather than to choose to misunderstand each other. Because we do that a lot, I think, online. We kind of choose to doubt and misunderstand each other and be offended, rather than wonder where people come from and where our words come from and where our hurt comes from. And I think, yeah, it's really, I think it's quite disturbing, the path we're heading into. It doesn't have to be disturbing. I do have a lot of hope in people, but it is interesting to see that the worse the health of our planet, the worse the health of our people, our neighbors, people close or far away, we aren't really reacting to it like I thought we would. We are reacting to it by becoming even more protect your own against whatever, like unfortune is a disease that spreads, and if you don't take care of your own, then it's gonna get to you as well.
Right.
But we forget that we have something else than just protecting our own world. We have something that can seep out from our world onto everyone around us as well. Because it is in our nature to be kind.
Right.
We have to think so.
Right.
And I don't even care about the philosophical conundrum of, are people good or bad, or do we do good things because we want praise, or are we good? Like this whole philosophical conversation about if we are good or not. I think it's such a waste of time, because we just have to think that we are.
Yeah.
And then try to remind ourselves
Right.
about it.
The album title, by the way, I understand, is kind of inspired by a letter that was basically, I don't know if it was written to you or what, but subject was, what happened to the earth?
Yeah.
And that really sparked a lot of these ideas and thoughts. Was that directed to you? And what was your initial reaction?
It was written in 2022. Because after COVID, I think we all went a bit like, ooh, we are going to change some things now, aren't we? How is it going to be? Are we getting better at, we see the way when we calm down our usual behavior a bit, animals start flourishing around us again, and nature starts kind of, the waters are more clean, the air is more clean, if we drive less to work, and we see the connection through our behavior and what happens around us. And I think we all thought for a moment after COVID, when it kind of, the world got into its tracks again, that we went so soon back to our old ways. And I didn't think that at all. And at the same time, I read this letter called We Are the Earth, written by indigenous activists and leaders from all around the world. And if you just rearrange the letters of Earth, that is heart. That's kind of where it came from. I was very moved by this letter because it was a huge cooperationship. Is that a word?
Cooperation or partnership or
cooperationship.
Cooperationship, yes. A cooperationship.
As we say. And it was so big to me that they all connected all around the world to plead to politicians and whoever feels like they run the world to run it with more love and more heart and more intuition and intention and spirituality, I guess, than just with the mind. Because now the world is treating people like numbers. And I don't think people like that. I think it makes people very unhappy to kind of see that that's kind of all they are. Even when they, But we are so much more than that. And I think the world is making us feel like we are nothing more than just a number,
right.
And it's I think it hurts our soul. But yes, this letter was very beautiful. And I really agreed with it. And I've been talking about the planet and spirituality and, how like the female approach to things, which isn't necessarily a woman, but what we think of as like feminine, caring, warmth, the heart, emotion, rather than like logic and brutality or like violence or like these things that we connect to like male energy, which is discussable, of course, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
These two parts, they should be way more balanced, and now they're so unbalanced. There's almost no feminine energy in the way we rule the world and value our women. So it's just this whole, I think we are very confused and we forgot something on the way here. Definitely. And that really sparked up my the album and what I felt like I wanted to say.
And that's something that I think we have certainly witnessed here in America, where the male brute force type of energy has really become dominant.
Speak loud.
Speak loud.
Not necessarily
me.
Well.
Right. And not the empathetic type of embodiment that the United States initially portrayed itself and wanted to become, which is we welcome all, we care for all, and we will take care of you, right? There was a very, as you say, motherly or feminine type of energy in that belief. And we have very much strayed away from that. And that has seeped into other facets of the world in other countries.
Very much so.
Elevating those type of people to leadership roles.
And you see it in the way, like, in how people, how we are doing in a country. When these things happen, when we stray away from what is our core values, because politicians, they come and go, obviously, throughout time. It's always a new one. But when they somehow manage to make people believe that whoever is on the other team is scary, is frightening, is not worth justice or peace, or when we think that we are enemies, even though we are more alike than we know. And I talked about this on my show in LA, that I said, I know that people in America now are having a very tough time because it must feel like you are an alien in your own country, and sometimes for some people an alien in your own family, in your own neighborhood, because these leaders are very good at making us feel like we are very different from each other, when we do want the same things, and we do need the same things, so we are the same. We're just being told that the solutions to our sadness is different things. And I feel like it must be very hard to feel so strange and misunderstood by like your own land. But again, it's only temporary. There's always...
That's right. There's always somebody new that will come to the forefront and hopefully change things.
And we are being given the opportunity to be a part of a really good change that we can be really proud of again and again. So it's just, you know, I hope people aren't in too much pain.
There's a song that kind of speaks to this, your blood, right? And I don't know if I'm misinterpreting it, but a lot of that is centered around how we are basically, again, one with the earth, and eventually we're all made of stardust in a lot of ways, right? I mean, if you really boil it down, how did the earth come into play? How did life come into play?
It is, and we know by science that every cell, every building block of every item or human, they have memory and they remember that they once were one thing. So, which we have proven that everything we are made of, they can remember in some way that we were all at one once, which is really magical.
You're telling me, because like if you really break it down from the scientific point of view, we live this life, we pass on, and however form that we basically disintegrate into, the physical cell, vessel that we are, there's still a soul attached of some sort, and it's a cyclical part of life, right? There's this evolution. So yeah, coming back as a different form of some sort is very much something that could be true.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Like if you look at the behavior of a lot of things, even just water, the way it floats up into the atmosphere and falls down, the way we go around the sun, the way energy flows, like it's very like everything moves in a circle. It's just we that think that time, because that's how we measure time, in like a line. So we think, okay, then there's a beginning with nothing before and an ending with nothing after. But I think most things behave like in a circular pattern. And I think that it makes sense just scientifically even that we do as well.
Right.
And it almost helps you, or I feel like spirituality like that does kind of inspire and help you to become a better human. Because you understand that maybe your impact even is longer than your time here in this body or whatever. And I feel like it's good to kind of feed your mind with whatever makes you a better person. And I think this does.
Well, what do you think your legacy will be? Because you're talking about impact on life now and perhaps in the future.
I don't know. I haven't thought about that so much. I really want to be remembered as a good friend. And then not mourned too much. Or I wish I could already help people mourn me better, because I think the way we speak about death, especially in like Western cultures, makes it an unbearable wound, because we forget that mourning is a celebration as well. And it's supposed to be sad, but it's also like almost more than sadness. And in many cultures, they do kind of understand this more. So I really want to find a way to decorate, I guess, the sadness of my passing to the people who will miss me, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely.
We have an issue with a death in our cultures. It's way too
Well,
sad.
there's an emotional attachment, right? Because we obviously love those that have passed and affected our lives. And so when they're no longer with us, they can no longer interact and bring us the joy and kind of this interaction on a regular basis. So that's really curious that we obviously have to cycle through the sadness, acceptance, and then celebration. And however long it takes is up to that person.
It is extremely individual. And I just think people, it becomes wrong when people deny that grief is kind of gorgeous as well. It's a gorgeous thing to even be allowed to feel, because it means you're grieving something that was really worth knowing when you had it in front of you or in your very hands. And I do think we forget to acknowledge pain and darkness. We kind of oversee it a bit, which makes it impossible to work through it. Because it is kind of it is a path. It stays with you forever. The wounds, they don't really get smaller, but you get larger, and so does life around it. I think it's important to not be so scared of that part of life as well.
It sounds like you are not scared of death at all.
I am not. I haven't been in many funerals, and I've lost quite many people in my life. And you don't get used to it, obviously, and you don't want to get used to it. But I've grown familiar with that is actually something that is possible to survive, even though it feels so physical in the beginning that you almost feel like you're being strangled by it, because It's very physical, this kind of pain, because it's more than we can fathom or understand, I think. It's like being born. You kind of remember it. It's traumatizing. Yeah. But then again, I have found my ways to kind of
work your way through that and deal with it. Yeah, and I think that's something you experience and are able to grasp and handle as you get older as well. You experience more things and see more things and whatnot, right?
Yeah, very much.
Yeah, and your music is going to live on forever, clearly. And no AI is going to be able to replicate that. So at least you have that part. At least
we have that. Yeah, it's very interesting. And even if, our satellites, our banks up there restoring every memory for us of everything that's ever been done or made on this planet, which is insane. One day they will cease to exist because of solar storms and whatnot. And that's kind of interesting, because then we'll go back to remembering things as just human beings again, passing information on. And then I like the idea of maybe one day my music being remembered in a human way, even changed, with people remembering it wrong, and then maybe becoming better, because it's like a coopermanship, which is the new word of the day.
That's right.
Between whoever made the seed of the idea and then the people kind of shaping the flower of it, which I think is very cool. Or I would love to be remembered like mouth to mouth.
I will certainly remember you as a great friend.
Yes, that's very
I always enjoy talking to you and catching up with you, however brief it is. I hope you feel the same. Because
yes, I do. That's why I said yes, because I say no to everyone these days. But I was like, yes, I want to do this because I remember.
I'm so appreciative.
Always have such a good time.
I'm so appreciative. I'm always by your side.
I know, I feel that.
So thank you so much for the time. And happy holidays, Grinch.
Yes, Grinch. Happy holidays here, Grinch. He's so great.
It's my favorite Grinch, Aurora, right here on B-Sides.